If a speaker is an advanced speaker, expectations are quite different from a speaker who is brand new. So let's go to the first slide here about feedback. Feedback helps speakers achieve their goals. Gavin? And so we all should have goals as Toastmasters. We all should have goals. When you join Toastmasters, you start off at in the legacy program. You started off and as a brand new Toastmaster. And back in my day, we had quite a few experienced Toastmasters who were very happy to nurture you and give you and actually welcome you into Toastmasters. And many of those older Toastmasters from way back, they had quite a lot of experience, not just in clubs, but at the international level. And when you are exposed to those kinds of people, those people with that background, people who are committed to Toastmasters, one of the things they would try to instill in you is to build confidence, help you build confidence. They will give you feedback that is not a whitewash. They will give you a feedback that is meaningful and would help you move forward. And they would do it with pride. And they would try to instill pride in you so that you could achieve success. And I always remember some of those Toastmasters. Some of them are no longer with us. One particular Toastmaster who helped me along when I first started was a Toastmaster by the name of Bob Aston. And anytime you see one of those little traffic lights in those little boxes, those little brown boxes, it always reminds me of Bob because he made those traffic lights long before Toastmasters began making traffic lights for sale. So, and again, when you joined the club, it was Surf City at the time, he would ask you, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What do you expect to learn from and achieve from this journey? And he was one of the people who helped me along. Let's go to the next slide, Gavin. Now, I also want to, before I move forward, I want to say, I want members to realize that this is the Toastmasters International module that I took and edited a bit for this presentation. And this is something that I think all Toastmasters should aspire to do also. So your goals should be clear and they should be concise. This should be achievable. You can learn a lot from observing your fellow Toastmasters. And when you observe the good, the bad, and the ugly. And of course, you would try to emulate the good. Stay away from the bad and completely avoid the ugly. Your feedback, although according to the Toastmasters International module, it basically says that you should provide immediate feedback. Yes, provide immediate feedback at the meeting. But it's always good when you are the evaluator for any Toastmaster, you should speak with them before and after. Because there are some things you may not want to bring to the community, to everyone. I remember when I first started off in Toastmasters, I gave a speech. The speech I thought was very good. The evaluator called me up after the meeting, an experienced Toastmaster, and said, Henry, I don't ever want to see you put your hands in your pocket again when you're on the platform. You're better than that. And I didn't want to say that to you in front of everyone. And I appreciated how that feedback came to me in a private conversation, not in front of everyone. So sometimes you although you should give immediate feedback, some things, sometimes the message is a lot more effective when you give it in a private setting. Recognize the positive performance, but everything would not be positive. You recognize the positive, and especially when that Toastmaster is a new Toastmaster, you accentuate and emphasize the positive, simply because we evaluate to motivate, especially when that Toastmaster is new to our organization. Let's move forward. Gavin? Now, how you deliver that feedback is very important. You should focus a lot more on how that speech affected you. And sometimes it's very effective when you say, when you said XYZ, I felt, this is what I felt. And when you break an evaluation down to its simplest form, you are basically talking about what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt. I saw you were well prepared. I heard a voice that I didn't expect to come out of that body of yours. Keep going down, Gavin. Next, Gavin. Yes, be sincere. Speak from the heart. Meet, again, I want to emphasize this. Meet speakers where they are. Meet speakers where they are. Don't give an evaluation. When you're evaluating a new Toastmaster or first year or second year Toastmaster, don't give the type of evaluation you would give to someone who has been in Toastmasters 10, 15, 20 years. Perhaps that's why I never win a contest again. The expectations are so high, who knows? the feeling is, oh, Henry didn't meet that expectation. And it should inspire you to move on and do better. Meet the speaker where they are, give them the type of evaluation that will help them shake it off if it is something worth bringing to their attention and move forward. And emphasize how the speech affected you personally. It is your moment to speak with that, to share with that speaker how you were affected by that presentation. Moving forward, Gavin. Now, Toastmasters, again, emphasize in this slide, emphasize about the use of I, using the I technique. What, try to avoid being the second person, you. You were not prepared. You did not do this. You did not do that. It is always better to approach it with, I felt that you could have been better prepared. I felt that this speech might have worked better if you approached it from this angle. So using the I technique, which is what Toastmasters highly recommend, I see there is wisdom in that. What I saw, what I heard, what I felt, getting back to that. And ending on a positive note is also very important. The sandwich method, we know all the different methods Toastmasters have emphasized for all the years. I believe something was taken out of this slide. I don't know why, but something is missing from it. So Gavin, can we move forward? Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, get back. Go back, please. All right. Yes. Recognize improvement. If you heard a speaker before and you saw a remarkable improvement in any part of their speaking, you should recognize it and emphasize it. When I always feel that the rule of three applies even in giving constructive feedback. The rule of three. Look for three things that the speaker did well. Look for 2 or 3 things the speaker can improve. And always give them something to work on. There are many, we are not perfect. We cannot be perfect in every aspect of public speaking. You may want to work on vocal variety. You may want them to work on pauses. You may want them to work on gestures. So look for the areas and find one that might help that speaker improve by just touching on that one aspect that you believe they can work on. And also, again, end on a positive note. Always try and end on a positive note. Moving forward. Gavin? Yeah, be specific. And where possible, give an example. Give examples. If you want to demonstrate, if you want to speak about, or you want the speaker to work on gestures. I know it's a little difficult to do this virtually, but when we get back into the standard club meetings, it's always good, I believe, to give an example, demonstrate to the speaker the point you're trying to make and the gift you're offering the speaker. Also, I have always looked at a speech as a gift. A speech is a gift to your audience. Express appreciation. I don't think people realize, or many of our fellow Toastmasters realize, how much time it takes to bring a speech, a high caliber speech, to an audience or to the platform. Express that appreciation. I can tell that you worked diligently on every sentence in that presentation. And today I want to thank you for giving us this gift that you presented. Just a couple, those simple words is the payoff for the amount of time that speaker spent preparing to give you that presentation. Moving forward. The positives, look at the positives. If, as I said before, also if you can demonstrate, if you can give an example of how they can even take it to the next step, take it, move it up a notch, do that. Do that with an example. Moving along. The negatives, don't stress on it. Don't stress. Many speakers try to give 100% every time they are on the platform. Sometimes that is just not possible. Many times. 80% is good. And if that speaker slipped up a bit and you see it, it may not be a negative. It is just something they didn't hit to achieve that 100% in that presentation. If it's not worthy to spend a lot of time, or it wouldn't help the speaker if it was just where they believe that they didn't completely get all of what they were trying to say or what they were trying to impart with you in that particular sentence. Outstanding performances, learn from them. Reinforce. I have this concept of good, better, best. You take your good speeches and make them better. You take your better speeches and make them your best. I remember when I first started again with Toastmasters, someone told me, good, better, best, and never let it rest until you make your good speeches better and your better speeches your best. And this is why I repeat so many of my speeches over and over. And I don't, but each time I try to make some changes to help to improve the speeches, the speech that I gave previously. So if you, that is my concept of taking my good and making my good better, and taking my better and making it my best. And I would urge you to do something very similar. Moving along. Again, yes. This is exactly the concept I'm speaking about, the good, better, best concept. Make your good better and your better speeches your best. Don't be afraid to repeat a speech that you did before, years before, or even recently before. But if every time you stand on the platform, you can hit at least 80% of what you planned to deliver, you're okay. You're doing well. One of your, I believe in Toastmasters, one of the greatest critiques of your work should be you. When you practice, you would be able to tell if you're honest with yourself, if this speech is ready to be taken to the platform. And again, if you work with a concept similar to the one I'm offering, you're taking your best and taking your good and making it better, and taking your better and making it your best, you will know when you are ready to take that speech to the platform. Now, are there any questions as we move, before we move along to the worksheet? I see Abhijit.
No questions right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gavin, let's move along.
Henry, do we need to look at that? Okay, the worksheet. So the worksheet is attached to the calendar invite. If you don't have it, you can get it now.
Yes, and I knew that it would not be, this is why I sent it off to you in advance, because I know it would be a little difficult for us to show completely. This was a worksheet that I had put together for a previous presentation years ago, and I gave it to Gavin, and Gavin liked it, and he asked me if I could share it. So I decided to attach it to this presentation. It starts with some of the things you should keep in mind as you evaluate a speaker. Now, it covers a lot of what we spoke about before. It's just it's more like a little cheat sheet, if you want to call it, to remind you that it is your personal opinion based on the objectives of the manual and speaker's focus, what the speaker is working on. That's basically what it is. And this is why it is so important for you to speak to the speaker you are going to evaluate before the presentation. It's very difficult to evaluate someone when you don't have a manual or you don't have any objectives to work with. So whatever the speaker is working on, the objectives of the manual is what you should be evaluating the speaker on. It is not your speech. So many times, well, the speaker is delivering, or the speaker you are asked to evaluate, I've seen speakers approach their evaluation as if it were their speech. It's not yours, it's theirs. And you're not a teacher, so you don't have to try to rip apart that speech or take it apart in front of all of their fellow Toastmasters. Avoid words that I would have done this, or you should have done that, or you could have done the other. Try and avoid those kinds of words. Another area that a lot of speakers struggle with is they are not worthy to evaluate someone. You are worthy. Some of the best feedback I got when I was preparing for the first time, for regionals at the first time, I would always go to kids, speak to kids, and I would get some of the best feedback, things that would enlighten me to my blind spots. They're not Toastmasters, but they're listeners. And I remember I was working with Rory Vaden many years ago, and he was giving a speech about having an accident with a cow. Rory was pretty young at the time, and my daughter just came into the room and said, "Daddy, or Rory, are you old enough to drive?" When he was delivering that speech. And that was something that he didn't even think about. And he had to go back to his speech and make a correction. So don't be afraid to seek feedback from especially kids. They're very honest, they're very sincere, and it comes from their heart. You don't always have to find something negative. You don't have to like the speech. So don't give a whitewash. If you If you feel that, again, we go back to what you saw, what you heard, what you felt. And any speaker will appreciate if the feedback you give that is coming from the heart and is very sincere. If it's something that is that bad, something bad that you don't ever want to see them do again, do it privately, so that you could reinforce that point and explain to them why you don't want, why they should not do X, Y, Z. And that private meeting is very important, because an evaluation is 2 to 3 minutes. You can't really get your point across if it is something that important. You might not be able to get it across to the speaker in 2 to 3 minutes. Do it privately. The sandwich method, we all know about the sandwich method and the spaghetti method, where you have different techniques of delivering. That box basically covers that. The most common method we use is the sandwich method. The hybrid and the spaghetti method, as you advance, as you get a little more experience, you can go into that, what is called the spaghetti method by some people. Okay, let's go down again. Let's go down, Gavin. All right. I don't know how many, this is something that sometimes I believe is very useful. Starting off with the title. How the title affects you as the speaker, as the evaluator. Start with the title. You go into the body, the development, and the conclusion. Remember, it's just 2 to 3 minutes you have to get that evaluation to your speaker. Remember, there's a big difference between the title and the topic. The title and the topic should be in sync. And that, I think, how that title is introduced to the audience is very important. We spoke about already about what you saw. You saw poise, you saw confidence, you saw nervousness, you saw energy. That's, again, if you can use that as a cheat sheet when you are evaluating, it might help you or remind you of some of the things you should look forward to when you look at the speaker. What you heard, diction, similes. You know, a lot of times we don't pay enough attention to coloring our speech with different techniques to improve how we connect with our audience. Echo, alliteration, metaphors. When you hear a beautiful metaphor, let the speaker know. Let your audience know how you felt. The 6 emotions that we as humans all relate to. Happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, disgust, and fear. We all respond to those 6 emotions. But the body motion, the body should also connect. How the body reaction should also be considered as you express happiness, sadness, anger, fear. You don't be smiling when you are expressing sadness. And your conclusion. The last words linger. So always think about what you're going to leave that audience with. How are you going to leave them? What are you going to leave them thinking? Think about your conclusion and give it as much importance as your introduction. When you hear a very strong conclusion and you're giving your evaluation, mention it. Your conclusion left me feeling that this is the place I want to go to. This is an experience I want to have. Those last words will resonate with any audience or with any speaker. I can't believe that you all don't have any questions. Go ahead.
I have one.
Uh-huh.
So what is the difference between the delivery and presentation?
Presentation is the complete package. Okay, the complete package. Delivery is how you deliver the package. I'll give you an example. Have you ever bought pizza?
Yes.
Okay, so the guy comes with the pizza and he looks at you and he says, "Oh, Mr. Abiji, here is your pizza. Are you going to give me a tip today?" And he hands you the pizza. He delivered it, right? As opposed to, "Oh, Mr. Abiji, I am your pizza delivery guy. Oh, and I'm happy to bring you to deliver a pizza here to your pizza. I hope it's exactly as you ordered. Here it is. Oh, I see you are I see you reaching into your pockets and we're going to have I'm going to get a nice tip from you." You see the difference? It's how you present your package to the audience. And it all comes from packaging. You have to think about that as you prepare. You know, as you prepare, how am I going to how am I going to give this gift that I prepared to my audience? Yeah.
Henry, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first table, 1, 3, 4, fourth column, you said a myth. Yeah, the first bulletin point said not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Could you elaborate more about it? Maybe a specific example?
So if you are a Toastmaster, you just joined the club.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
And I'm speaking that day, and you are assigned to, let's back up. You are in a club with Abiji.
Mm-hmm.
Abiji is a Toastmaster who has been speaking for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Very confident, very accomplished.
Mm.
This is your first month in Toastmasters.
Mm.
Okay?
Mm.
And you are assigned to evaluate Abiji. And some people may believe that they are not worthy.
Oh.
And I believe, as someone who is a member of the club, you are worthy. Now, it would be better, Abiji may prefer someone who has been in the club for 15 years. Okay? But someone who is new to the club, it will build their confidence if you just explain to them, all you have to speak about is what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt.
I see.
That's it.
So this goes to both sides. for example, like Abhijit, a senior speaker, there might be a myth with him that he think me as a brand new Toastmaster, my evaluation is not worthy. And also the myth might come from my side. Me as a brand new Toastmaster, I might feel my evaluation is not worthy to Abhijit, the senior Toastmaster. Now, your point is to let us get rid of this myth. We just speak from our heart.
Speak from your heart and just focus on what you saw, what you heard, what you felt. Okay? And if it was something that you wouldn't do, or you would not do, or you would not expect from Abhijit, mention it. Let us suppose it could have been something, but if it's something minor, of course, you don't have to stress it. But if it's something that you believe it's perhaps, I remember in one of my speeches, there was a line I used in one of my speeches about, what was that line again? And I remember one of my evaluators pulled me up on that line when she said that, oh yes, it was in the speech, Two to Tango.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I froze. She said, like a deer caught in headlights. I froze. He said, Henry, a deer caught in headlights. Come on, how many times we have heard that? And she was a pretty new Toastmaster when she gave me that line, that feedback. And I appreciated it. I took it out of the speech. You know, I changed it to something else.
So no matter how senior we are or how brand new we are, we have our perspective.
Yeah,
which is valuable.
Listen to how your words affected the other side, the audience and the speaker, and the evaluator also. Yeah.
Thanks.
I have a question. What do you believe? What do you believe, Henry, in your many years, even in observing international evaluations, going to the highest level, what makes somebody really superior in delivering an evaluation? Can you give a summation of what you think makes somebody very exceptional in giving evaluations?
How they connect with the audience. I think that in many cases, the evaluators don't take, in that first minute, they don't take the time to make a connection with the audience. Sometimes it is their introduction. Something may have been said in their introduction, or before, actually before everyone is introduced. And I remember one speaker referring back to the introduction by the tabletop, by the contest master. And that little reference that made the audience laugh opened up a completely different avenue for that speaker as they gave their introduction. And immediately I felt, oh, that was smart, that was good. Everyone else followed their script. And that, although that person was the very first speaker, they won that contest. So I do believe it is in that first minute, you can win it or lose it.
Henry, what does whitewash mean?
Everything good. Oh, you were wonderful. You're a star. The speech was out of this world, and on and on and on.
Okay, thank you.
Is that going to help you?
Build your confidence, I guess.
Well, it depends. If it was worthy of those compliments, I would say yes. But if in your heart you knew that it was not, that person is not doing you any good. That evaluator is not helping you.
Henry,
Yep.
I think the main difference, though, is the details. You can give somebody an evaluation where it's all good, but you have to say what specifically was
Right.
good about it, and then it's an educational experience for everyone.
Right. I fully agree. Fully agree with that, Dennis. Words of wisdom. But if you just stand up there and give what we call a whitewash, okay, you're going away, or you're walking away with a false impression of something that was not really helpful to you or your audience.
Henry,
Yes.
how long should a new person be in the club before they're given the assignment of evaluator?
There's no timeline. If you can
How
go,
fair?
if
how
you can go, remember, remember, a club meeting is a workshop. Okay. It's
Yeah.
not this is why I really don't like competitions at club meetings, because I believe anyone is worthy. Someone, a guest who is not a Toastmaster, can come in and give you valuable feedback. So why someone who is in a club 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, why they are not worthy of giving you feedback? You see my
But
point?
what's been my experience with that and observation, our club, is somebody comes twice and the second time they're the evaluator and they still don't understand what the rules are, what's going on, and so forth.
And what are the rules?
To listen, to do all of this, but they don't have any of this information to help them evaluate effectively.
Okay.
So from my point of view, it would be at least be there to observe, listen and observe. Listen what a feedback sounds like.
Okay. And when would they become worthy?
If they come every week, then maybe the third or fourth week, because at least they understand what's going on.
Okay. If again, you have to meet the in a weekly club, that may be very valid, but in an advanced club, okay, it would not be valid. I am more involved with advanced clubs, and you come in, and after your first or second visit, we expect you to be able to give a value, to give feedback. As a matter of fact, what we do in some of the advanced clubs, round robin evaluations, where everyone get a chance to say something, see 1 or 2 things, which gives them a little practice and help them develop their technique so that when they have to do a full-fledged evaluation, they are ready.
I like that.
But I do believe we should, if someone is to boost someone's confidence, okay, which is what this organization, one of the goals of our organization, to give you confidence. I believe in baptism by fire. You come in, you have seen 1 or 2, a couple evaluations, and you want to speak up, and you dare to stand up and speak up, I say give them the opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we need to move on to the next item. Next, let's welcome Yizhong for her speech. Yizhong, please.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to ASML Toastmasters. It's very nice to see you. Question: how long have you been working from home? 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months? Have you ever had about when that you can stay at home working before this year? Beautiful dream. At least I was dreaming this beautiful moment. What does it look like to you? Now to me, it's a lot of virtual meetings, a lot of kids' virtual classes. We're also planning a virtual team building, a virtual happy hours, and even a virtual potluck. Yes, these virtual meetings occupy our life, change our life, especially when camera is off. I have seen a lot of camera is off because people will having the phone, but you don't know what people is doing. Sometimes just having my meeting and laying on the bed with my pajama on. Sometimes I can just walk out with my meeting. And sometimes you even can go to the doctor's visit. Last month, I had a dental appointment, which have a conflict with a regular weekly meeting. It's an hour-and-a-half meeting with more than 40 attendees. Yes, 40. And normally only a few minutes and the first half an hour is related to my projects. Consider about my appointment is 10:30 and this meeting starts from 10. I don't see a conflict. I can drive to the doctor's office, sit there waiting for my turn and still join the meeting. Not a big deal. Okay, I did it. So this is a situation. I have my headphone on. I went in the doctor's office, listening. I sit down there, still listening. And yes, 90% of the time in this meeting, I don't need to say a word. Don't ask me why is 95%, why is 94 or 97. I just come out that number. Okay, I was called. Oh, yes. And the time is exactly 10:30. I felt like, yeah, I'm almost done of the meeting. So I went in, lay down on the dentist chair, still listening. And the doctor came in and said, hello, Yichong. Very nice to see you. Can you open your mouth? And I will check your teeth. Sure. Still listening, I open my mouth. Suddenly, I heard my name was called in the meeting. Yichong, can you answer this question? What? What can I do? Without a second thought, opening my mouth, I immediately raised my hands, show stop to the doctor, and jump out of the chair. Sorry, doctor, I need a few seconds to answer this question. So I immediately pick up the phone and finish my answer in 5 seconds. Yes, 5 seconds. Did I answer the question? My heart was beating very hard. No one responded. What? Hello, did I answer the question? Still no one responded. I was very nervous. And I'd go back to check. I never turned on my microphone. It's always muted. All the communication I did was not heard. What a stupid mistake I took at that time. Wow. That was the time I never forget for the rest of my life. And that's part of my working from home. Also, when we're working from home, not only our working, but also our family impact our working efficiency. There was a record that in some places, when shelter in place was lifted, the divorce rate was increased. And the reason is husband and wife, they fight with each other so hard during the shelter in place period. And they could not agree with each other and want to divorce. I don't know what you're feeling, but I had the same feeling at the very beginning. I have a very important meeting. I have a more important meeting too. Who will take care of the kids? Who will help them to do the home learning? You should do it. I should do it. No, you should do it. That was a disaster. Why should we do that? We should not against each other, right? Because we have a bigger trouble. We have a bigger enemy we need to face. Wait a moment. Who is this bigger trouble? Who is this bigger enemy? COVID-19? No. COVID-19 is not the enemy for only two of us. It's for all of us. The trouble is kids. For example, this morning, even just 10 minutes ago, my kids finished her screen time. Yes, just finished her screen time and cried super hard. Continued to ask me questions. Mommy, what should I do? I have nothing to do. What should I do? Honey, you just finished your screen time. You can do anything. No, I have nothing to do. I feel like that's a question for me. And I should ask that question too. What should I do? What should I do to doing this education with a no drama discipline? That's our bigger trouble we need to deal with together instead of fighting each other. Okay, let's talk about education. Once we have the same goal, kids, 3 times, make it more emphasize kids. And then to me, people who got my degree from China and have no idea about what's American style education, I always be very curious about what they look like. What should I do? They learn from very different culture. And that at that part, I feel like my dream came true again. I'm more lucky. Many of my dreams come true. Now every weekday, after 15 minutes class, yes, 15, it's not 50. I have 3-hour kindergarten homework. My education now starts on kindergarten. That's the part I start from my American style education. And sometimes I could not do it. I had to search on Google and ask my friends. And the most effective way is ask my 3rd grade daughter. She could answer most of the questions. There was one homework at the first week of the shelter in place. The homework was outdoor scavenger hunt. Yes, it is outdoor scavenger hunt when shelter in place started. Are you kidding me? When I heard that from my kids, you definitely heard it wrong. I refused to believe it. That was impossible until I heard it directly from the teacher. If you didn't go outside yesterday, could you please go outside today to finish homework? You know what's my feeling? It's very hard to be a kindergarten in America. Eventually we went outside and we looked for 15 things listed on the list. Something light, something heavy, something with a dot, something with a letter start with the M. And my daughter insists that should be mountain. We should climb up some trails as high as possible to see the mountain. Thank you. California have a lot of mountains around. Otherwise, we will be in trouble and stuck outside for hours. And those are things what we are trying to deal with. How about yours? Are you comfortable to working from home? Are you comfortable to share a story about that? And that's it. I would like to give you to think about it and share something fun with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yichong. Our evaluators, do you need some time to compose your evaluation? Maybe we can take this time to ask a few more questions to Henry. We can take like 2 minutes. Or I can, yes, any questions?
Henry just sent a piece of information in the chat box about more where to get more information about evaluation or speech techniques. Also, if you want to get the PPT or the framework, evaluation framework, please fill out the Google form.
The evaluation session. Our first evaluator is Dennis Dawson. Dennis, are you ready?
Hey, John, thanks so much for this very timely speech. I can certainly relate to all of the frustrations around being sheltered in place. I enjoyed the example stories that you chose. They were a nice variety of sources to pull from frustrations with the job, frustrations with the children. I thought that you spoke very slowly and you were easy to understand, which is not always possible over Zoom. And I like that you were patient with me and gave me the opportunity to understand all of your stories. I also like the way you were framed in the Zoom window. Your head was always right in the center or off to one side, but easily seen. On the other hand, I thought that you were trying to use the stage, as very often Toastmasters will tell you. That's appropriate when you have a stage or where there's plenty of opportunity to see you. But I found that for me, I was missing most of your gestures because they were below the vision line. So something I would really encourage everyone to do, rather than try to take the Toastmasters experience and shove it into this little box, try to embrace the Zoom technology and use some of the opportunities that we have here, in particular, using slides. So rather than trying to act out the different characters, use instead cartoons that you could pull off of the web and put pictures up as an alternative to trying to act things out. But what I found most troubling in your speech, I didn't catch a thesis statement as you started off. Your introduction first was sort of a greeting to everyone. I heard you ask a number of questions, but none of those questions resolved into what you were going to say to me. So it wasn't until nearly halfway through the speech that I understood that this was a lighthearted speech about the general issues that we have dealing with the COVID crisis. One of the ways that you can get around that is obviously to have a very clear thesis statement at the beginning, but if you prefer not to, you can put it into the introduction that you give to the Toastmaster. Let them mention that this is going to be the theme of your speech, and then you can launch right into your stories. This is what I call signposting, and it's important for old people like me because I can never follow you young kids and your technology. What I liked best about your speech, though, was that it was the sort of thing that I can completely relate to. I share your frustration, but you were able to express it in a way that showed gentle humor and an overall positive attitude in a very negative time. And I appreciate that message. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dennis. Our next evaluator is Declan, shall we? Are you ready, Declan?
Yes. So thanks, Yi-Chung, for this after dinner speech, or it's actually just a little bit before dinner. Nonetheless, your objectives were to weave stories together that were linked around a theme, a central theme, and the effect you were hoping for was to be lighthearted and to be relaxed and to have us engage and enjoy that with you. And I think you absolutely did achieve that, those set of objectives. I want to outline 3 things that I really liked. And I'm only going to talk about 2 things that might be areas of potential improvement for you, Yi-Chung. First of all, I loved the storytelling structure that you use, because those stories allowed you to connect with us very, very effectively. Your introduction around Zoom meetings, they are everywhere in our lives, from our work to potlucks to happy hours. You Hi there, now I'm unmuted again. You talked about the family structures and the family interactions that are stressful. We've all experienced that. And you talked about the educational system and the cultural differences that you went through. Also, the third thing I really liked was the rhetorical questions that you asked throughout the speech, but particularly at the beginning and the end. Again, linking it back. How long are you working from home? What's your experience? What have you learned? Those techniques, Yi-Chung, are very effective. So here's a couple of things that I would like you to think about in terms of improvement. In terms of the structure of the speech and its content, I think we would have been served better as an audience by knowing what you were going to talk about in a little bit more detail. So I would suggest that you outline, you're going to talk about the effect of going virtual on our work lives, our family life, and on education perhaps, and that you want us to think how it has changed us, or something like that. That would have given us more a holistic picture, and then as you step through the micro stories, it would have been more easily followed, and perhaps would have accentuated your theme. And lastly, I would have preferred had you finished with a message that was more personal. You did outline some stories, but you asked us to think about, well, what have you learned? I think stories like this are more meaningful, and speeches like this are more meaningful if you can tell us how it changed you. Are you still married to your husband, perhaps? Perhaps you are. Perhaps the relationship is better. Perhaps the relationship needs a little bit of work. No idea. But you get the idea. Tell us a little bit more. So in summary, love the structure of it, loved your vocal variety. That really did help. throughout. Like the rhetorical questions, I think you should maybe have a bit more outline at the beginning of the speech, and then finish with something more personal around how it has affected you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Declan. Our third evaluator is Yifang. Please take it.
Hi, Yichong. What a great speech. You shared your life story with us. I really appreciate. When you tell us about your dentist visit while during a working meeting, I felt that I was in the dentist's office with you. I was there looking at you, open your mouth with your headset in your ear, and when you heard someone ask you, Yichong, answer this question, your heart beat. I was there worried about you. How would you do it? Your storytelling skill is amazing. I was totally in your story. That great job on that. And in your speech, your pace is good. Your pace is slow. I can always follow your speech, follow your story. And your voice changes high, low. You apply the vocal variety. I'm sure Declan's workshop helped you. And I can tell, even behind the screen, you have eye contact with me. I can tell your eye changed from different angle while you are describing the story. And your voice speed goes up and goes slow and fast at a different place. Your face is always smiling. I think at a certain place, you can show your face into a different expression. For example, when you are fighting with your family member about the internet resource, the computer resource, this is my my meeting is important. My meeting is more important. Those fight moments were not happy. You could show sad face or angry face. I have more important meeting. I want to use this computer. I want to use a better headset. Those kind of things, you can tie to your facial expression to the story plot. And then another thing you want to take your speech to the next level is, even though this is an entertaining speech, you made a great job entertaining me. It would be better for me to learn something from you. That what do you learn from the stay from home work? What is the central message of your story? So I think overall it's a good speech. When I come here, I want to have fun. You give me a lot of fun. I had it. And also I want to learn. I want to learn your insight. What is your insight from this stay from home life? That's it. Thank you.
Hi, we are coming to the end of our meeting. This is a special meeting. Usually the club meeting lasts less time, about 1 hour.
Yifang,
Yes.
I believe the audience would prefer to listen to Henry Miller's comments about the evaluations.
Okay. Yes, Henry, please.
Okay. I found listening to the evaluations, I was very happy to hear the emphasis on I felt, I heard, I saw. Also, Yifang's reference to the 6 emotions, the importance of using also expressing your feelings about what you saw, what you heard, what you felt, with communicating to the speaker the importance of using the 6 emotions when they are conveying, when they're delivering their speech. So I saw some of the workshop in the presentation. I was very happy about that. So I would urge you to use the workshop to build your own worksheet. Build your own worksheet and And the more you practice it, the better you will become. And at some point, you would not even need that worksheet. Build your own, and you will find that you will become an excellent evaluator over time. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity to share this meeting with you. Thank you.